These guns, sponsored by Omega, because they make fantastic wrist weights in the form of the Ploprof. Hi guys, Lucy aka the Watchbox Diaries here. Welcome to my channel. Now today I'm getting to review a watch that I am completely obsessed with. The majority of my watch lifespan so far tends to stick around the vintage dress watch kind of style, but for some reason the Omega Ploprof has always been a guilty pleasure for me, and they are so hard to find in the wild. A couple of weeks back we went to see a friend and I couldn't stop staring at his wrist. Why? Because he was wearing an Omega Ploprof, and probably just to stop me being weird and staring at his wrist, he offered to loan it to me for a few weeks. And the squeal that came out of me was ridiculous. Big shout out to Sean, aka Adventures in Watchland 2. I wonder what happened to 1. If you like watches and cars, definitely give him a cheeky follow. Lovely guy, great watches, awesome cars. So the name Ploprof is the shortening of Plongeur Professionnel, which is simply professional diver in French. Pretty straightforward. Now, I heard an origin story that I'm not sure whether it's true or not, but back in 1970, Omega were trying to win a military contract and they decided to build a watch from scratch. As you can imagine, designing and producing a watch from scratch takes quite a lot of time. So long, in fact, that Rolex changed a few things around on one of their watches and swooped in and took the contract. Now to me, that story is entirely plausible, but if you have any input to this story or any actual facts around it, let me know in the comments because I am intrigued. A lot of this information is readily available online, but I'll do a quick spec roundup. So first off, I'm going to start with the reference, and for that, I'm going to need a note. So 224.30.55.21.01.001. Going to come up with a better referencing system. Omega, no. Size-wise, it comes in at a massive 55 by 48 millimeters, a thickness of 17.5 millimeters, and a lug width of 24 millimeters. It is chunky. It has an impressive 1200 meters of water resistance and uses the Omega 8500 automatic with a power reserve of 60 hours. Some of the additional benefits of this watch include a wrist weight, because you could definitely work out and build muscles by wearing this piece. Also, if you ever turn into the Hulk, there's so much adjustment in the bracelet that you can still wear it whether you're human or hulking out. On a serious note though, this watch is the epitome of function over form. Each element was designed for the purpose of being an unbreakable tool underwater. So there are a lot of companies that prioritize design over actual functionality. Take the MB&F HM9 for example. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic aesthetically, but it doesn't really have too much function other than the fact that it tells the time. Although the fact that they manipulated the movement to fit into the design is actually pretty impressive. Probably the most well-known function of the Ploprof is the helium escape valve, not just for display purposes only. The escape valve lets the pressure release, but at a safe rate, so there's no... This has a bi-directional bezel for added functionality, but what you don't want to happen when you're deep down in the depths is to accidentally knock said bezel. So how do we combat that? With a massive diver glove friendly pusher, obviously. Not only is it an aesthetically interesting element of the case, it's also functional. I have mentioned multiple times that I am not a fan of a ridiculous crown guard. I'm looking at you, Panerai, especially when you only have 30 meters of water resistance. But on this, it is essential. When you create a watch that has 1200 meters of water resistance, you kind of need to make sure the crown is as safe and secure as possible. The open and close of it is weirdly fun to use, and it also adds to the interesting and unique case shape. When a watch is needlessly thick, it's not cute, it's annoying. This time I'm looking at you, Tudor opaline dial GMT. You would have been perfect, but you are just too thick. The Omega Ploprof is not a chunky thing for no reason. Those big boy dimensions have purpose. Not only is it housing the movement, as well as the push button and the crown guard, but that case needs to be strong and solid and sturdy to withstand the pressure of diving down 1,200 meters. Loom on a diver is also incredibly essential, and this one stayed for a really long time. I did not go diving with it, but I did have far too much fun taking incredibly average, sometimes terrible videos of it, but it did keep me quiet for a long time, so there is that. This isn't quite function over form, but it is such a unique case shape, and it's something I love about this watch. Take the Rolex Submariner, for example. It's a standard shape. If you see one from across the room, it could pretty much be anything. When you see one of these from across the room, you know exactly what that watch is straight away, and I love that element of it. Okay, so what did I dislike about this watch? There are only 3 things that niggled me about this watch. Number 1 being it doesn't have a quick set date. It does have a quick set hour, which is arguably more important when diving. But for me personally, if I owned one of these watches, I can't imagine that it would be set to the correct date very often. Issue number 2 is the mesh bracelet. Although it's aesthetically pleasing, I love the look of it, I didn't get along with it. I am aware that as an Itty Bitty Risk Committee member, I'm having an issue with a watch that is designed for people wearing diver suits and people with big wrists. But I'm still gonna have a whinge. I'm still gonna whinge about it. It just wasn't as flexible as I would have liked around my wrist, and I don't think how heavy the watch head is helped the situation. I have tried it on with rubber strap though, and that worked beautifully. Issue number 3 is the availability of these bad boys. They changed the dial colours and the materials a few times over the years. However, this steel model they discontinued a few years ago, and there is only one currently available directly from Omega. And I use quotation marks because they released this watch. It's the summer blue, the dial that changes hue dependent on the depth rating of the watch. They released this, I believe, last year at Watches and Wonders, and not a single boutique has seen one in person. Still. It's also going to be £13,500, which is more than I can currently afford on a new watch. So it's probably a good thing that there's none available at the moment. People think the Speedmaster is the most identifiable, and I personally, I think it's this. I think it's the Ploprof. Some of you may be screaming at your screens going, Lucy, what the hell are you doing? That watch is way too big for your wrists. And you'd almost be right, it's a lot bigger than a standard watch would be, but I'm very much a tell me I can't do something and it's going to make me want to do it more kind of person. I think growing up with older brothers has made me rather competitive. Secondly, I am a strong advocate for wearing whatever the heck you like. And I do think there's something really cool about women rocking massive watches and also men rocking like really small, cool vintage looking things. But yeah, wear whatever the hell you want. If it makes you happy, that's all that matters. I've tried to explain why I just love this ridiculous watch. I don't know whether I succeeded or not, but sometimes it's hard to explain. Sometimes you just feel it. Listen, I don't need a diver that goes 1,200 meters down into the murky depths, but a statement watch with heritage, with story, with purposeful, thought out features, an iconic, recognizable design from a brand I absolutely love. Yeah, I'm here for that. Big shout out to Sean again. This one physically hurt to hand back. I could have cried handing it over. I saw him again a couple of weeks ago at an event and I saw it on his wrist and I was just like, gimme. Yeah, that is my Omega Ploprof review done. I want to know your guys' thoughts. I know this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, especially not coming from someone as part of the A Bit Risk Committee. So yeah, drop your thoughts and comments on this watch, on my absolute obsession with it, in the comments section below. If you have enjoyed my horological ramblings and you want to support my channel, make sure you do the YouTube things, give it a like, give it a comment, make sure you've subscribed to the channel. And if you want to be notified of my upcoming videos, just click the little bell and YouTube will do its thing. Until next time though, bye.